Never. Never. So this is about the origin of concentration camps. When Namibia won its independence in 1990, the main avenue of the capital city still bore the name Göring. Not for Hermann Göring, the Nazi, but in honor of his father, Heinrich Göring, one of the perpetrators of the first genocide in the 20th century. That Göring, who represented the German Empire in the southwest corner of Africa, kindly approved in 1904 an annihilation order given by General Lothar von Trotha. I think this General Lothar von Trotha was the grandfather or father of this great German movie director, cinema director, Margaret von Trotha, which is a source of optimism because it should prove that humankind is not doomed to decay. I mean, that we may improve the quality of our products. Well, an annihilation order given by General Lothar von Trotha. The Hereros, black shepherds, had risen up in rebellion, and the colonial authorities expelled them all and warned that any Herero found in Namibia, man, woman, or child, armed or unarmed, would be killed. Of every 4 Hereros, 3 were killed by cannon fire or the desert sun. The survivors of the butchery ended up in concentration camps set up by Göring, and Chancellor Bernhard von Bülow pronounced for the very first time the word concentration camp in German language. The camps, inspired by a British forerunner in South Africa, combined confinement, forced labor, and scientific experimentation. The prisoners, emaciated from a life in the gold and diamond mines, served as human guinea pigs for research into inferior races. And in those laboratories worked Theodor Mollison and Eugen Fischer, who later became the teachers of Joseph Mengele. Mengele carried forth their work as of 1933, the year that Göring the son, set up the first concentration camps in Germany, following the model his father pioneered in Africa. This is one of the many unknown stories that I think we should remember for obvious reason, because if you don't know your past, you are doomed to repeat it. It's an old proverb, but it's true.
I wanted to ask you about President Obama, a little more about him. We recently had on the Pan-Africanist scholar Ali Masri, who's a Kenyan scholar, a chancellor at a Kenyan school, and also at Binghamton University in New York. He said Barack Obama has become the most powerful single black individual in the history of civilization. What about the significance of Barack Obama becoming president?
Well, it's a very important victory in a long and difficult and painful fight against racism, especially in this country, in the United States. Here in the book, I tell some stories, unknown or almost unknown, happened 15 minutes ago in historical terms. For instance, in 1942, the Pentagon, when the United States was entering the Second World War, the Pentagon prohibited the transfusions of black blood. And at that time, the director of the plasma bank in the Red Cross was a scientific called Charles Liu. And he denied the order. He denied to obey it, saying it's stupid. Such a thing, black blood, does not exist. Black is red, it's not black. Blood is red. And he knew what he was speaking about. He was almost the inventor of the plasma, or at least a scientific who made it possible. He saved millions of lives in the Second World War. But besides being a scientific of very high reputation, he was black. And he was black. And so he knew perfectly well what he was speaking about, and that's why he resigned or was resigned. And this happened just a while ago. It's yesterday. So it's very important, the fact that Obama is now president of the United States, being as he is black or half black. No? The problem is that nobody is better or worse for being black or white. Like this book also contains a lot of stories about women. This half of humanity, I don't know why called a minority. I'm not strong in mathematics, but how half of humanity may be a minority. And I tell a lot of stories that are badly known or unknown. Then my friends, I have some terribly perverse friends saying, well, now the system gave you as a gift that wonderful woman called Condoleezza Rice. And I say, well, yes, it's true, because a woman is not better than a man or a man better than a woman. We are all made, half garbage and half marble, half beauty and half shit. But we should have the same opportunities. And that's the problem, that discrimination have condemned so many people to be invisible. And this book tried to recover their memories and to recover their presence. The fact that Obama is black is very important in the fight against racism, but it's also a challenge. I mean, he should prove that blacks can do it better than whites, like women in power, which is unfortunately not the case of Margaret Thatcher, for instance. But they have at least Margaret Thatcher had the opportunity to show it. And sometimes I think Obama is doing it well, and sometimes not. But it must be very difficult for him. Yesterday I said perhaps he's lost in the bush, and meaning that there is all this war machine, for instance. He improved the war budget. He improved it. In the campaign, he was promising a quite different attitude, but he ended raising the war budget, which is mysteriously named in the United States defense budget. I don't know defense against who, because the last time this country was invaded was in 1812. Well, later there was a short invasion by Pancho Villa, but this was almost nothing. I mean, and I believe we should propose a new model of world, not consecrated to this human passion of killing each other. We are the only animals specialized in mutual extermination. By the way, advertising. I'm a member of a vast movement working for a big, giant march for peace and against violence on October 2 in all countries. In all countries. And I hope we may We may have millions and millions of feet walking in the whole planet, in all cities, in all parts of the world, against the war, against this crazy, mad world living against itself. This big factory of death that the world is nowadays. Each minute, the last official figures say, each minute, the world